This one right here is the new Google Pixel Phone 8a, a mid-range smartphone which comes in at the price of 550 euros over here in Germany, and for that price you will get a smooth 120Hz display, you can shoot videos in 4K resolution and 60 FPS, and you even get a few AI features. And today we will check out everything this phone has to offer, but first the unboxing. Alright, like usual with Google Pixel phones, the box in which it comes in isn't really big, plus you don't get all of the extra stuff like for example with an Motorola smartphone. Now the first thing that you will get is the Pixel smartphone. I got it in the color mint green, but you can also get it in the colors of blue, beige and black. At the bottom of the box you will get a normal USB Type-C charging cable and an extra adapter for USB Type-C to USB Type-A. Now let's get over to the design and the specs. Now as you can see, the design of the phone is the same as the older version of the Google Pixel series. Now you get a 6.1 inch display with Corning Gorilla Glass 3 and it has a very curvy design. Now there are no hard edges anywhere on the smartphone. The green aluminum frame has a slightly different color than the backside, but it still looks good, plus you don't see your fingerprints on it. Now on the plastic backside we have the Google logo right in the middle and a big metal bar on which you will find your 64 megapixel main camera with that juicy 4K resolution and 60 FPS. Now there's also a 13 megapixel ultra wide angle shooter, and on the front you will find the 13 megapixel selfie camera, but more to that later on in the video. Now, so like I said, you have a 6.1 inch OLED display with a resolution of 2400 by 1080 pixel. Now this one lights up with a peak of 2000 nits in the auto mode, so it's more than good enough for all kinds of sunny conditions. Plus you get a 120Hz display, which will give you silky smooth swipe actions on your smartphone. And if you want to save a little bit of your battery life, you can also trim it down to just 60Hz. By the way, that's the default settings. This phone is also more than capable of giving you nice and crisp colors when you are watching movies and videos on it. You got a good contrast and dark blacks. Now the only thing I don't like that much about this phone are the rather chunky bezels all around. Now there are definitely some cheaper smartphones out there which have smaller bezels. Now on this phone you can also customize your lock screen a little bit, like you can change the shortcuts on the left and the right side of the display, and you get something like an always in display mode. Now as for the audio, the Google Pixel 8a comes with a set of stereo speakers which will have a decent sound, and the quality is good as well. It's just not as loud as some other smartphones, but you can definitely work with it. So that's how it sounds like. We watched Fit 3, and today we will check out all the features, the specs and more. So let's get started. So next let's talk about the battery life. So you will find a 4492 mAh battery inside of this phone, which is a small upgrade compared to the older Pixel 7a. This one will give you just about 6 to 7 hours of on-screen time, or you can say that it will last from the morning when you wake up all the way through the day and the night. One bad thing is the charging speed. It's a slow 18 watts, and there aren't too many smartphones out there that are slower than that. But at least you get wireless charging, but once again, that's super slow. Now up to the features. So this phone runs on Android 14 and comes with a stunning 7 years of OS and security updates. By the time it's already past 2030, and you probably can already buy the Google Pixel 15a, so it's really a long time. Then this phone comes with either 128 or 256 gigs of internal storage, which is not expandable by an extra SD card, so I would probably go with the larger size. Now taking a peek into the storage settings, you see that about 13 gigs are already used up by the system, which is pretty much normal. On the Pixel 8a you will get a face detection, which works great, and you will get a fingerprint sensor underneath your display, which will even work if you have some sweaty or greasy fingers. Now as for some other features, in your safety and emergency settings, you will not only find the SOS emergency, but right here you will also find car crash detection, crisis alerts, earthquake alerts, and unknown alerts, whatever that's supposed to be. Then you will also get some kind of AI features like the circle to search feature, so you can do some quick searches of whatever you see on your display. Just long press your power button or the navigation bar, and you can either draw a circle around the object, or you will get a square box, and everything inside of this box will be looked up in Google. But from here you can also select and translate the text, do some shopping via the pictures you have selected, you can look for places and other things. Then you got all kinds of features to nicen up your pictures. On your normal pictures you can add a background blurriness if you want to, and then make it stronger or softer with a slider. You will get the Magic Eraser, which will first look for some not fitting objects in your photo, or you can go ahead and tap on certain objects, which will be then erased from the picture. You also have the Magic Editor tool, which will edit the picture for you. So it will add background blurriness automatically and erase objects from the background. And it can do all kinds of cool stuff to your pictures, and it will even give you a few different examples of your finished new product. Then you got some features that you also have on other Google Pixel phones, like you can let Google read some web pages for you. You can have some instant translations on your messages. It can translate your conversation so it acts like an interpreter. And you got a cool feature which is called Live View on Google Maps. Now this one will make it easier for you to get around new places and new cities. And you can even find your friends a little bit faster if you're using that feature. The only thing that you have to know is that it's apparently not working in every city. Next up, we got the performance and the gaming. And you have to know that this smartphone has the same chipset as we have in the Google Pixel 8 Pro, which means you really don't have to worry about a thing when it comes to your everyday usage. So now I hopped into Genshin Impact and tried playing it on the highest graphic settings, but like this you will only get a frame rate of about 30 FPS. If you play it on medium settings, it will be a little bit better, but you cannot expect to get a consistent frame rate of 60 FPS. That's mainly due to the just 8 gigs of RAM. You also don't have a real game booster, and you only have a few features while you're playing your games, like you can take screenshots and screen record. You can check out the FPS rate and toggle on the D&D mode, and that's about it. So there are definitely better phones out there when it comes to gaming. As for your camera, you will get a dual camera setup on the backside with the 64 megapixel main camera with optical image stabilization and a 13 megapixel ultra wide angle camera. Now on the front you will get a 30 megapixel cam as well, and both the front and backside camera are capable of recording videos in 4K resolution. It's 60 FPS for the main and 30 FPS for the selfie camera. Now as for the camera modes, there are really not too many. You have a night sight, panorama, portrait and a long exposure mode. So it's just the basics. I also noticed that you have no slider for the background blurriness when you're taking pictures in a portrait mode. When it comes to the pictures, it's actually pretty good for a €550 smartphone. Your pictures are poppy and vivid, there is a good detail level, and just the edges of the objects get a little bit washy if you zoom in too much. But the color difference between the ultra wide and a normal camera is actually not existent. Your portrait shots are always a little bit cropped in, but that's okay in my opinion. Just the background blur that you get by default is just a little bit too much in my opinion. Same goes for the selfie camera, even though it feels like you have the same quality of picture. Now you have to know that you have no macro camera on this phone, but if you use the 2x zoom and get close to the object, you will still get some decent close-up shots. Also, moving objects for this camera is a little bit too much, especially if the lighting isn't 100% on point, but overall speaking, you will get a good camera for that price. And guys, there we have it. That's the Google Pixel 8a. Now, I also tested the Google Pixel 8 Pro on this channel. Just click that video right here to get right to it. And I guess with that one being said, I will see you in the next one. Peace.